going off track slightly, there's something us people outside of SDA say, yeah. We always say, where they from? SDA. Of course they can sing. Oh, God. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? If it's a bass player, no, they're not from SDA. Where they from there? No. They actually come from Church of God of Prophecy, but when they got married to someone in SDA, okay, that makes sense anyway. But what is it in SDA you guys are singing? Is it? I know you weren't allowed to play other instruments and you singing. Was it that element, or what was it? Because I'm looking from the outside in. What made you guys just take singing to another level?
Sure. Affinity Xtra, be Xtra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Xtra.
Yo, people, this is your boy here, Roger Moore here, celebrating gospel music of black origin. Yes, we keep it real with the music that's in tune, with the music that has bass line, the music that has sauce upon it, and you know what I'm saying, this is how we do in the gospel realm. And yes, we're one of the few stations actually celebrate. It's actually about music, and it actually originates from our skills and whatsoever. I'm with a skillful person here today, a very skillful person here right next to me here today, and something that's we do challenge. It's a challenge to myself, you know, growing up, seeing so much talent we have in our churches, and then all of a sudden, the talent was doing amazing stuff all around the world, and we didn't even know, you know. And it was really, for me, we assume their journeys. We assume that, you know. How easy or how hard it is, how rich or how poor they are, how spiritually not interested in God anymore, or, you know, we make a lot of assumptions about, you know, yourselves and whatever. And let's be real, people, we say, on a sellout, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? And I suppose you've heard that before as well. Yeah. She goes, yeah, man, you just say that to me, you know. Make a officially strike after members this after 2 years of tithes off me. But you know what I mean? It took them 2 years so they can work out how they can move on without my money. You know what I'm saying? But after all that, but definitely want to touch base with Charmain now. We just did a great, really cool gig that we had up in Birmingham. Invited them guys up, and so we're coming from a scene where we're used to having singers and so on like that. So yeah, but yeah, man. But we want to kick off and go through your journey, man, sis, and just, you know, we got somebody who can sing, who hates auto-tune in her voice. It's an insult for her to be told that her voice needs auto-tune. That's a great assumption, isn't it?
No, it's a fact.
Okay, cool. Listen, that's Jedi mind tricks there, right there. Still, yeah. I just had a vibe like she ain't coming. You calling me out here to sing out? No, don't insult me. You know what I mean? So, first and foremost, sis, you know what I mean? Just give us insight of your background, and we fundamentally are saying that you're coming from the church background and where whatever. So, just give us a picture of what it was yourself as a child in church.
Okay, so I was born into the SDA church.
Massive.
And music for us was, you know, if you can't do it right, then don't do it at all.
Wow.
I was sent to piano lessons from the age of 4.
Crazy.
And then I went into, my piano teacher was also a singing teacher. In fact, she used to be on Opportunity Knocks every single week, and she'd win it every single week. So,
wow.
Her name was Miss Singh. She also was the piano teacher for Ken Burton and a lot of the people from Croydon SDA Church. We all grew up together.
Oh, Croydon. And South London, massive. Okay.
Yes, South London, massive. Anyway, so I grew up in a musical family. My mum sang, my dad sang, I don't know. Yeah,
singing tune.
Yeah, he sang.
Bless him.
He wrote songs. They were both on the choir. We all had to learn a musical instrument. I played the violin, the piano, and the recorder. And my brother, as some of you know him as DJ Gus, not that he's doing that anymore, too tough. But he played the trombone, the piano. We all had to learn to play the piano. And my sister, she played the piano and the flute, I think.
Okay, when you say play the piano, right, guys, you know, if they learn to play the piano, what grade did you get to?
I got to grade 5.
Oh, two above me, man. Two above me.
My sister got to grade 6. My brother got to grade 3. But
That's me.
the only reason we got to grade 5 and stopped was because you have to pass all your theory before you can move on to grade 6.
Oh.
Yeah. So there was kind of a backlog on theory. And then I kind of, I got to that when I was about 12.
Okay.
From 4 till 12. And
Hold on. Did you just say 4 or 14 to 12?
No, 4.
From the age of 4?
Yeah, we all went to piano lessons from 4. And we were all singing in church. I was singing in church from 6 and, upwards in groups and, solo and stuff like that. So we were very early starters in singing in church. And, at the age of 12.
Imagine telling a child to go and
13.
sing in church and don't sing upon a track these days.
Yeah.
That's scary. That'd be called they'd be calling social services on you. I don't want to, mommy. You imagine telling your mom, I don't want to sing. Yeah, sing today. You know what I mean?
That was like my comfort.
Okay, cool.
I used to lock off in my room. I was quite introverted them days. Very shy child. And even though my sister was younger than me, people thought she was my older sister because she was a more mouthy one.
Okay, cool.
And my brother was the eldest.
Cool.
So at the age of about 12, going 13, my piano teacher, she came to our church. We used to have these Christmas, events, and she would come and she would play "Bless This House, O Lord We Pray." It was the same song every single year. But she heard me sing and she was like, you need to sing.
Okay.
Right? So she took me under her wing and I was classically trained at the age of 12, 13.
12, 13.
Yeah. And then from there, I just, from the age of 16, I've been singing in the industry for a long time.
So hold on a second. So wait, let me guys, let's get total context of this, yeah? Right. So guys, I got to grade 3, yeah? Flunked out, yeah, I'm saying. I don't want to make it personal with my mom and dad, yeah. They kind of pushed me down the piano route. I wanted to do trombone, but they got me to do trombone. But anyway, how you let all this by 12, you can sing at the same time, yeah? And singing in front of people wasn't a problem because that you've been doing them dub plates from the age of 6 years old. Yeah. So basically, you weren't phased. So on a going off track slightly, there's something us people outside of SDA say. Yeah, that we always say, where they from? SDA. Of course they can sing. Oh, God. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? If it's a bass player, no, they're not from SDA. Where they from there? No. They actually come from Church of God of Prophecy, but when they got married to someone in SDA. Okay, that makes sense anyway. But what is it in SDA you guys are singing? Is it? I know you weren't allowed to play other instruments and you singing. Was it that element, or what was it? Because I'm looking from the outside in. What made you guys just take singing to another level?
We were taught that if you are presenting anything to God, you've got to give him your best. So you would have to learn the fundamentals of whatever it was that you're involved in.
Wow.
So I was an athlete as well. I used to run for the church, and we went training, and our training was tough in that church. It was tough. And when we trained with other teams now, it was like soft touch. Because the way that we used to, and I used to use that methodology mentally in how you pace yourself through life. You concentrate on your goal. You have to, if this is what you want to do.
Yeah, man. Love that.
You do what you need to. You learn about it.
Wow.
Don't wait on your teachers to tell you.
Wow.
If that's your interest, go and read your book. My mum, she would not even let us watch TV. We'd be knocking on her door saying, "Mum, can we come in and watch Miss World?" And she said, "Go read your book."
Yeah, man. It's that real talk, man. When people can lock off, lock off, and it helps to develop you. And the joke is, at the time, you're almost treating it like torture, but the reality show is it was something that you were blessed with in the future to do.
We had the piano.
Yeah.
And
same here, man.
Yeah.
Which when you had that upright brown piano.
Yeah, and I had a gramophone in my bedroom. You know them old things?
Yeah, one in your bedroom.
With the cupboards, yeah. I was lucky enough to have one in my room. And my mum was always buying things, so she got another upgrade grandma, and I was like, I want that in my room, so she put that in my room.
Okay.
And the one album of Mahalia Jackson in that, because in the Adventist church they're quite straight with their music, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And for me, I was a bit of a rebel because I'd like to feel the soul in something.
Okay,
it was music was the core of me.
Okay, cool.
Right, and I just wanted that expression. So because I was young and, you know, can you imagine getting up there to sing a song and my dad used to say, oh, you got too much reggae in your voice. So he used to say, but then when I get up...
That's deep, you know. That's deep, you know. We're not going to open that window there still, yeah. How church folk rejected their actual roots. But anyway, let's say, cool.
This is a thing because when they came over from Jamaica, right, my dad, the church that they joined, well, it was more white influence.
Yeah.
It was at the New Gallery, and he came over as a Cole Porter, and they didn't even want them to come there because they were black,
true. That's
right?
a real talk.
So then they all went to Brixton Church.
The
Brixton branch, and that's where they saw all their people, you know. And then they went to Croydon after that. Yeah. So they were like meeting up with their friends from back home, coming to that church. They saw people who they knew back home.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, lovely.
And then that was the support network that we grew up in.
Come on now.
You know, and when it came to the music, we all shared in that. You know, so the experimenting would happen. When it comes to the music side of it now, if I'm getting up on the stage or the platform, I would say, to sing at church, I would sing it the way that I feel it, and I'll get away with it because I was, you know, it's the way you put it across, it will convict the heart of the listener. So the deacon, sometimes I'll turn around and then the big elders, like, they're crying. Yeah, man. You know, because of the way that, so it's the perception. When people say, oh no, that's they've got too much movement in it or whatever. If you go up there and you're singing with conviction, it breaks the barriers. You understand? So for me, I couldn't be dictated to when it comes to the way that I sing something. If I'm singing with conviction and with the love of God in my heart, I want people to feel my experience. So from a very young age, that's how I felt. And the one Mahalia Jackson album that my mum had, which had a little bit of soul in it, because other than that, she had Elvis Presley and Jim Reeves. And
Come on now.
Nah,
yeah, man.
I need my black artist. So yeah. The only one that I actually performed for Jim Reeves was Put Your Sweet Lips a Little Closer to the Phone, and that's the gospel song.
Listen, man, there no sweet the phone to Jesus. You don't need no sweet lip for that, man. You don't have to put no strawberry upon that. You know what I mean?
I was probably about 13 when I sang that at a banquet at church, and that was my
I bet the boys at church are going, oh, we could be them sweet lips. Start coming. Anyway, sorry, guys at the back.
I had one of the deaconesses say to me, that was a lovely song. Why you have to sing that type of song for? But anyway.
But I do play it at home. But anyway,
yeah. So Mahalia Jackson was who I grew up with. I had her in my room.
That's brilliant.
You know, I put if I got in trouble about anything, I'll just go in my room, put on the Mahalia Jackson, the one Mahalia Jackson record, and sing to it to the top of my voice. And I'll be singing things like Let the Church Roll On, and Somebody Bigger Than You and I, and A Time to Be, whatever it is, that one. And Precious Lord, Take My Hand, them kind of songs. And people are like, but you're so young, what do you know about life to be singing them songs? But I sang them anyway because that was, who I aspired to.
That is great. Yo, guys, we're going through some fundamentals of the development of actually talented, crazy people that have become fulcrums of today's music. And I just want to remind everybody, I'm talking to Charmain Elliott, who we're going to get to is a cool backstage person that does vocal training. So we don't do vocal training because we watch 5 YouTube videos and think we can vocal train because we can sing in tune. It's a bit more when you got somebody who's coming from his background and just really just listening to your story there, sis, I want us to be proud of where we come from. You know what I mean? Too often that we in our spaces and we look back and go, they would look back and go, boy, they did me over, or, you know, had bad experiences. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, reality show is that some of them fundamental to learnings that we learned in the spaces has made us amazing people for today. So how do we sow back into our community? How do we come together as a community? Because your journey is very similar to a lot of other people's journey. But like I said, guys, I have to salute to the SDA massive, yeah. Invo, the crazy thing is, we spoke yesterday, and I found out that I kind of know a cousin. You know, from back in the day when I was a youth, man, you know what I mean? Like, sort of, to Melissa actually, like, you know, she went to college with my brother, and it's like, you know, that's just a crazy small world, you know. And in the studios now, we can look at the church that when you came to Birmingham, you would go to in Handsworth there. So we're literally in the back garden, is onto their back garden, you know what I mean? So, small world, very small.
Summer school with Clive Mardner and Debbie Mardner.
Yo, shout out to them, Crew Nation. Listen, it's small, like crazy. I remember, you know, guys, you know, this way is be able to be good to people, you know, because it'll come back to bite you, you know what I mean? Because we all catch up, man. But going now, you're coming into teenage years. So we're coming now. You're amazing, talented singer. So what was the, you know, groups, choirs that you was involved with? Was there any SDA choirs or groups you was involved with?
So we had a little group. Initially it was myself, my sister, and I think Maureen Palmer, Debbie Burton. She used to be Debbie Simpson back in we all used to kind of sing together, and Vanessa Burton, who's Ken's big sister.
Okay, cool.
And at the time she was directing the church choir.
Okay, cool.
Before he took it over later on.
Later. Okay.
Yeah. So, and we were all together, and we always
just
used to
make
make
it out there.
Yeah. We used to all like sing songs together and everything in church. But then I was part of the Croydon gospel choir, and then I went on to, we had this group called Destiny, and it was myself, my sister, and Donna Gardia, who she's from UT in Wood Green. So that at the time, I think she was like about 13 when I first met her, and I was 16 at the time. Yeah. And
she did that in secret places. She couldn't let her parents know.
No, we were. I mean, we were really close friends. You know,
okay,
she's
cool.
from North London side.
So you did did you go to gospel scene? Or
Cool. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. And so we sing with the Escoffrey sisters as well. They had a production called Witnessing Negro Gospel Sound, which included Paul Lee and Paul Johnson, and there's another lady called Claudia. You know, and we all sang with the Escoffreys as a group unit, and their dad at the time, George Escoffrey, he was the one that used to train the group and everything.
Crazy.
Outside of just the Escoffrey's sisters themselves. You know, and that was before Michelle was allowed to sing with them. She was only a little girl then.
Wow.
But yeah, so we went back that far, and then there was New Horizon, and so we'd go out and we'd sing lots of concerts and everything. And then later on, I joined LCGC.
Yeah.
I was with them for like 10 years, like with the pioneers in the 80s.
So you would have bumped into a couple of Crew Nation, like Neville Forbes. Neville Forbes, he was there. Obviously, Cal Riley, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal Riley. Okay, cool. Who else? I don't know. That would have been around there, them times there. But obviously, you know Priscilla, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Priscilla. Yeah. Cool. Did she go LCGC as well? Did she?
No, she wasn't. She was in the Jones.
Jones and Co. Yeah, Jones and Co. Okay.
And then there was Misha Paris with Spirit of Works, and then you had the Echoes of Joy and Paradise. Okay. Paradise, actually, Dougie in Paradise, he wrote me my first single. Yeah. And we went in and we recorded it with Bobby on the drums and his brother.
Okay, cool. Right. So basically, you was in this crazy scene in only assuming the 80s. Yeah. Basically, that's the 80s. That sounds like the 80s scene. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this scene now where you literally had gigs every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just doing gospel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not like today, guys, where there's only about 3 gigs a year. But you know what I'm saying? You had gigs and you probably had a choice between doing 2-3 gigs. Did you ever get 2 gigs on the same day?
Yeah. Well, a lot later
when I she had to go right and better out myself on this one. Yeah, where you go?
Yeah. So a lot later when I was directing a choir called Plumstead Gospel Choir, and at that time you had the Holloway choir with Tony Best, and you had the East London choir with, is it Leroy? You know, all these choirs were going on at the same time. And for us personally, after the Croydon choir won Sainsbury's Choir of the Year, I met Susan Digby. She was Dame Susan Digby at the time, member of the Royal Family. And she liked the fact that I was a female director. And I was the music director, the choir director, and sometimes I have to get up and, you know, say a word, preach and whatever as well. So she liked that concept. And then because she was a female director as well, so then she staged a concert in her house.
Yeah.
And invited press, members of parliament and all that as the audience. And it was a mixture. It was basically her, you know, Voices Foundation unit and my, as they call it, urban choir.
Okay.
You know? Then I had to teach them a song. She did the whole reception thing, food and everything. And it was in her home. And she used to come down to our choir rehearsal. Well, she's come down a few times to our choir rehearsal that I had in my home. And she'd just kick off her shoes and put her feet up on the sofa.
No way.
You know, and my children obviously got to meet her children and everything. Yeah, so it was really nice having that affiliation. But she was one of the main judges for Sainsbury's Choir of the Year.
Okay,
and
cool.
then she's one of the judges for Last Choir Standing. She was for that one as well, blonde-haired lady. Yeah. So it was nice to just like have that collaboration. And then when they did their Voices Foundation 5th anniversary, you know, then we were asked to come and, you know, be the choir for the, you know, for the.
So I'm listening to all these voice. Can you go on YouTube and see some clips of these things? Can people just go and find out these stuff?
You can see Plumstead Gospel Choir. There is a concert that we did, and in fact I think Marcia Scoffrey was singing that day as well, and another lady called June Ham.
All right, then you're cool.
Yeah.
So definitely, guys, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do some research. So when you hear all these names, guys, yeah, I'm saying, because I don't know if you're thinking of how do I look in that video? I know. Sometimes,
no, I didn't mind.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Because I know some people are like, I look terrible. I'm not telling nobody about that YouTube video anyway. But because you know when you look at them 80s hairstyles, we like, and I suppose I'm assuming that you had shoulder pads as well, innit?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, so back in the day, guys, you know, if you didn't know, ladies were like American footballers, and they had these things called these shoulder pads out there. It's just you know, really cool. Obviously, I was the little boy looking up anyway, still, yeah, with that anyway, yeah. But no, definitely. So I'm looking at a thriving gospel scene in the 80s. Yeah. A scene where there's talented people. You're part of the talented people coming through. Now it's clear that now you're moving, or you get to a stage now where you're touching in world's spheres where it's not just the black people sitting in the crowd and going, "You're amazing." You know what I mean? You're going to a sphere where you're looking at other communities and are looking and going, "We love your vibe." You know what I'm saying? We love you as a person, and we love your talent, we love your skills, we love who you are. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're not looking at your skin now. We're looking at what you bring to the table. Obviously the next stage was obviously they getting the phone call going, yo, you must have had that phone call because right, I'm gonna do something which is gonna be uncomfortable to where you're coming from. Yeah. Did you face phone calls where you had to almost think, okay, right, I'm making a step out, not outside of my community, but making a step back, you know, which nobody else is really be making, you know what I mean? Or did you, what was that moment like, or if you had that moment?
Okay, so when I was in college, I had the opportunity to work with two guys from Loose Ends, as Michael and Steve, and I did like a recording session with them. Yeah. And I was asked to go to Seychelles in South Africa on tour, and I went back to my mum and I asked her, and she says, "Oh no, you can't do that. That, you know, singing's not a profession. You need to get your education and whatever." So I banned that idea. I was like, okay.
Okay,
can't do
a minute.
Not gonna
I gotta
ask again.
reload this, guys. Yeah. I was ready for her to say, when I'm 28 years old, I had a phone call or whatever. You can say to me, you were at college, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mind your own business, going to the camera room, doing whatsoever, and you're being approached to tour
Yeah.
with loose end.
Not with loose ends themselves.
But loose, but it's
that
something
came
from the group.
working with them in the studio, yeah.
Wow.
And at that time, I mean, I was open to anything because I just wanted to sing, you know. And obviously you go to college to do business and whatever, the usual thing. But that wasn't me.
100%, yeah.
I just wanted to get out there and sing. And I wasn't allowed to do it with the permission of my parents as such, because they felt it was taking me away from the church. Right? So my mum went to the States. My sister was out there at the time. And I was just here with my dad. And I joined LCGC by that time because I wanted a little bit of
Basil, see what you'll be at, cause you
and
took off from the church, Basil. Yeah, we tell you, man, Reverend, you know. Anyway, sorry, give us some.
So we had joining the choir was I kind of stumbled on it because we did with Witnessing the Negro Gospel Sound with the Scoffreys. We did New River Studios. Was it Riverside Studios in Hammersmith? And Levine Hudson was on the bill at that time, and LCGC.
Okay, wow.
So then when we did the R thing with Witnessing the Negro Gospel Sound, then Lawrence approached me.
I headhunted you, yeah. Said, girl, you can sing.
Yeah.
We need you in the session. You got talent.
That.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Come down to the rehearsal, you know, see what you think.
I just told you what he said in his head. He said, girl, you can sing. You're coming out with me. I have the best in the city. I mean, in our case, LCGC. And listen, girl, I can make sure, you know them gigs them, so we can get you on them gig there, so, you know what I'm saying? And get a little change for it. How are you, mate? Make some change for your gifting. Love you, Lawrence.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool.
Big guy, I love you too. So I went down to the rehearsal, and then the rest was history as far as LCGs was concerned. I was with them for 10 years. We did lots of gigs, and we did the rock gospel show every Sunday, and we sung with some amazing artists. And then when I left LCGC, in that time, I was doing like my own thing as well. I was recording with various people, and my voice was on certain
So when you were
projects.
recording, was you doing gospel songs or was you doing R&B?
No, I was just doing soul
music. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And
But
do studio sessions and stuff like
would
that.
you,
as well.
you know, when you first started recording, did it ever come to your mind to do a gospel album, or was you just? Or was you mindset?
Yeah, but then the thing is, even though I've done write gospel music, or I've done a gospel album, I never went the gospel route. I went the main industry route.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's good to hear that, because I think that a problem that we're facing now is that gospel doesn't seem like if you're American artist. I'm not saying it's exactly the same because they have their own struggles in the country, but there seems to be a more viable way of I can do a gospel album and go out there and actually earn something from it, or and do tours and events and whatever. But it's amazing in the UK still to this very day. I'm talking to young people at the age of 18 to this day. Oh, you're growing up in church, you learn how to sing, love the God, whatsoever. But the first album they're thinking of doing, I'm going to do a gospel album. I mean, there's a glass ceiling. What am I going to do that for? There's absolutely no point. You know what I mean? And that's, I'd rather just do an industry album. You know what I mean? But that's
but
amazing.
then that's the difference because I wasn't a very patient person.
Yeah, man.
So if I went to somebody who was in the gospel arena and I said, right, I want to do this, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'll be like, see you later. I'm going to go and do it anyway. I'm waiting on you. So that's what I did.
Wow.
I had this choir. We'd be doing like 2-3 gigs in one day. I'm not joking. We did a lot of stuff with the Barbados High Commission and the Voices Foundation and all that. And we went on tour. I mean, we went to different countries and stuff like that.
Crazy.
I used to put on loads of concerts. right? I was a leader in the church and everything. And we did all the big conferences, what you call convention.
Convention,
We
call
do like
conference,
the Royal Albert
cool,
Hall and the Wembley Conference Centre and all
Wow.
that. We'd be doing all of that, and I'd be like at the front conducting, like
Okay.
all that stuff. And I was teaching vocals at the same time as well. But I was approached, and they were like, "When are we going to get some music that we can listen to at home that is your voice?" And I said, "Okay, all right." I had trained the choir. I had got all professionally done backing tracks for them, so they wouldn't have to rely on a band. I gave it to two of them, two prominent like husband and wife team. I said, "Look, take this. I've trained you. Take it and run with it. I'm going to take 6 months out to write an album." Right? There was a song that I wrote called "Hope for You," and it got into the hands of Mike Rimmer from the Rhythms. He heard it, and then it was like on his playlist for weeks. Because all the colleges, like students, really loved the track. And then it got onto the Alpha Zone, and it was there on their top 8 list playlist. So we actually went and did the thing for the TV cameras and everything. And then he challenged me to write an album. So I said, all right then.
Yeah, sounds like Mike. Yeah.
So I took 6 months out and I wrote this album. And I got Ian Dunstan, who used to be with the Cool Notes, Shane Roberts, under the direction of Mickey Brown, and Adrian Mackenzie. They were the 4 producers on the album. But it was what I did was I would write the song, construct it, give them all the chord progressions, and I say, right, let's go into. I've got the song. I've got it in its structure and everything.
Wow.
Let's go in and do this thing. And 6 months later, I had an album with 15 tracks on it.
Cool.
And then it won the Gem Awards in 2003, and I went to the States. I was invited.
Yeah. Wait a second, that was that Gem Awards in Birmingham, innit? You won that?
Yeah,
you
2003.
No way. I was there, people. Yeah. Actually, I was sure I was on the stage at one point. Did I hand out an award at that show? So, 203?
2003. I got Best Newcomer.
No, it's 2.
And it was for the track. What was the song? This is really terrible. It was the very first track on the album. Yeah.
And that was at the Bethel Convention Centre,
yes,
innit? Yeah. That's the event that's sponsored by Schiller, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was, yeah. That was crazy.
And that, I mean, I haven't done anything with that album since I won the award. Only once. No. And then because my life took a different direction after that, and I was just like hard gigging. I had an agent, and I had a team, this team together called Giants that I got together.
Okay.
And it was like about 24 industry level musicians, singers, dancers, and then we would have these gigs that will come in. Sometimes I'll split the team 3 ways. You go there, you go there, you go there.
So honestly, guys, I'm opening up the fact that basically I have no clue. I'm just finding out. I'm next to some genuine in the industry. Yeah, like it's just normal. She's come quiet into my studio, just have a little conversation about me, and you're running the gospel. You're running the session. You got and a female as well. Still Usually you just think it's but back males that come from church. The usual MD drummer or whatever. Shout out to my drummers there. But, they usually get about 5 man and just do get a couple bands together. But you was doing this back in 2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Still doing it.
Yeah. And we had the amazing musicians.
That makes total sense. Listen, if you see this lady on the phone, I'm thinking, yo, that's music talk every call, you know. She was like, yo, you may be at that gig. Nah, she ain't like that. No, just say, yo, you late? Yo, nah, she's not like, say, ding, ding, ding. Yo, we guys say, hey, yo, you better reach and get the vocals done right, you know. We're saying, get the C sharp. But no, you definitely have a vibe of like, that makes total, you know, I clock these things anyway. So you say certain buzzwords, I go, she's talking about session work and we just a gig.
Yeah.
That don't make sense. This is your weekend. Like usually people talk about them things in on Tuesday when things are quiet, man.
I had a 9 to 5 as well. I worked in a legal environment for about 25 years, but in that time I was running the music thing alongside it, and I was I worked the night shift. I had my children, and then it would be leave the night shift 8 o'clock in the morning, straight in the studio with Adrian McKenzie till about 12, then rush home, be there in time for when the kids came from school, and then, you know, then back out the door again, give them their dinner, get a little bit of sleep, and out the door again, back to work. And that was my routine. And it had to be like
you know what I'm saying?
You know, but I was determined to create this thing that people could listen to and draw inspiration from and get healing. And, you know, every single track on the album was prayerfully constructed. And the way that I listen to music is my brain goes into analytical mode, and I dissect the instruments and how they speak to each other and how it brings the message of the music to life. It's real
crazy.
Thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So when I was listening to the orchestra yesterday.
Okay, yeah, man, we was at GRS, but big up to Ray Prince, yeah. So you was enjoying.
You know, I was on the edge of my seat and I was hearing sounds from this
that way,
and I was like.
Hey,
up there on the stage.
And you know it's crazy because I'm so used to, as a musician, we have this thing, and I'm coming from Cork Triton days, yeah. You Cork Triton, they'll play I believe it's Kamara strings, yeah. We'll get the Kamara strings, you go, and when you do this, you do that, but I'm just seeing real instruments do it, and it sounds. It just takes you to another level, like absolutely stupid.
It's like a piece of artwork. And you know how things gel together, and the musical expression that embellishes the words and the singer, you know, and their delivery. Everything it's like a living, breathing piece.
You know, 100%,
you understand?
100%.
And so when it comes to like levels and stuff like that, I'm thinking, that needs to be up a little bit, or that needs to be, or they could stretch it, or they could take it in a different direction. That's how my brain works. So it's about full expression and, you know, all that stuff. So when I'm teaching now, that's what I try to pull out of the people that I'm working with. And I'm not talking about just in a vocal rehearsal. I'm talking about in the studio as well, when I've got an artist that I'm working with and we're putting down their vocals on a track, say for their album project or whatever, and the direction to the producer, the engineer, and if they've got live musicians, right, I might say to them, can you do this to the piano because it needs to emphasize what she's saying here, or, you know, can you give that dynamic to your voice because it will open up the meaning of what you're trying to say, and it will bring out another emotion.
I'm next to a boss lady right here still, yeah. When she comes into the studio, it was like this, yo, you got it ready, you got so. Is this pass, please? No. Oh, yes, no, absolutely. You know what's really, really powerful about this is, you know, I'm just seeing somebody rise and, you know, use the gift and talent that you've been developed in the church. And it's not in the sense of going, proverbially almost sticking things up the church and just saying, "Bon you, I'm going to go make money from this." That doesn't really come in that heart of yours, you know. I mean, from that you still have a love and respect towards what's going on in our circles and where you're coming from. You're not talking, because sometimes people talk about the past like, you know, I want to touch it, you know, because because they stopped me from this, they stopped me from that. But there's an element to that. But there seems to be like a reverence towards what that's brought to the table for yourself. Yeah. And I just love the work ethic. And one thing I have to say to the new generation is, guys, nothing comes easy. Every creative seems to want to make it so they don't have to work at the age of 21. Sorry, guys. you have to graft and work. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the hard work, the hard hours in, you know. And I believe that we have a culture, a sport culture, that thinks that you can go on Instagram, make 2 videos, get 20,000 plays, and then be making money for the rest of your life. You're setting a foundation, sis. Now, what is amazing is that your children have followed you in the music, into the music world, which is quite scary, because creativity is an area where you're not guaranteed money. Yeah. But the thing is, what I do believe is that we educated our people wrong. You might not be successful as an artist money wise, but you actually can be successful industry people. There's so many people that make these clocks. There's nothing wrong with being part of the road team that develops road mics. You know what I'm saying? You know, but people don't see that as part of the music industry. You could be a singer, but you could be a tester for mics for road. You know what I'm saying? You could be involved with their development and growth. But we don't expand our mind to the industry and what is out there still. You know what I mean? You know, and I want to really let the next generation realize that when you want to be a producer and you want to go to college, it's not about making the next beat for Stormzy, but it's about making the beat for Disney, for Star Wars, for being part of these productions. And I sneakily know that I watched Black Panther the other day. Big up to Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? You know, even though I probably can't get it because I'm too light. But anyway, so yeah. But in Black Panther movie, you had Ken Burton doing a thing. Was you at that session? No. Okay, cool. Ken, Wagwan, it's too expensive for you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so sorry. But anyway, so no worries, Ken. Because me and you ain't met. Everyone talks really good of you anyway. So yeah, so we're getting him on the studio.
He's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, say, we'll pay Trevor expenses, by the way, Ken. But anyway, well, no, definitely. We see them entwined with Disney productions. I know Lawrence Johnson's worked with projects with Aladdin and all of his business. And I think that I want people to hear this, because I want people to realize that it's not just about making an R&B hit. You know what I mean? And it's much more wider than that. You know, even the great Andre Crouch is doing vocal arrangements for Michael Jackson. Understand that concept. You know what I mean? That helped Andre Crouch to have a comfortable weekend at KFC. You know what I mean? And a bit more on top of that, and then maybe a new car as well. But, you know, and also it creates residual income as well. You know what I mean? For the family and the children's children. You know what I mean? The Hawkins family right now are living off every time you see the people sing "Oh Happy Days." They're going, "Thank you, Lord, for blessing my soul." You know what I'm saying? But I originally got told that track is too secular. But you have to have an open mind to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And whatever. So you just give us a bit more insight into your children and what they're doing in the industry and yourself, and you already open the door. My mind wise anyway. Boss lady. Absolute boss.
So I was always taught that if you want to do something, make sure that you're able, through your learning, to teach someone else, okay, and to lead. That was my mum. You know, she instilled that into me, and she was like, higher than the highest human thoughts can reach are God's ideals for his children. That's your benchmark, right? Do your best, you know, and God will bless you. He'll give you a little, and he'll see what he can entrust you with, right? So that's always been my thing where my music is concerned. I've never really listened to what people think about what I put together, because it comes from the core of me, right? I think that all artists need to be able to understand what drives them to write or create. And there are going to be people who try and press you down or try and discourage you or say, oh, you're not as good as that person, or you might sound a bit like that person. But if they need to get in touch with who they are authentically and learn to appreciate their own sound, because it's unique to them, right? If they don't, they also need to know what they want to say and why is that they choose music, okay? Because that's what gives you the longevity in this situation, proper. Right?
Why? Know your why.
You need to know. For me, if I need to say something, that's how I express myself through my music. If I need to deliver a message, I'm going to write that song. It's through observance, it's through life lessons, and it's, if you don't understand your purpose in life and why you've been given this gift, then it becomes like something you don't know what to do with, right? So for me, I know what my purpose is. It's through the experiences that I've had through my life that I can use my music as a vehicle to deliver that message, right? And the way that I write is with purpose. It's intentional. Okay, so now I've had the opportunity because of that to work with the Temptations and the Four Tops. I toured with them for like 6 weeks, England, Scotland and Wales, right? I was part of the Shakin' Stevens band till about 2016, from 2009 I think it was. And I joined him as, well, I didn't join them at first. It was teaching vocal harmonies to the unit, because he'd never worked with female backing vocalists.
Okay,
really. It was mainly a male
male. Yeah, that's correct.
of rockers.
Yeah.
And I was asked to come in and do this thing. So I was there and I was going through the rehearsal with them, and they heard the fact that I was able to just pick it up just like that, you know, just hear something and say, okay, this is the harmony, that's your bit. And then they loved the way that we sounded so synced together, so they asked me to stay with them. So I ended up being with Shakin' Stevens for a while, and, you know, he was so impressed or inspired by the way that I wrote, and he started to come around the dinner table when we went on tour, and he would be asking me questions about what the type of music that I think he should listen to. So I directed him to the Kurt Franklins and the Fred Hammonds and all that stuff. And it's funny because those tours were so key in us gelling together as a music family. The conversation, I was the only black person there and the only person that was a Christian, right? But he found his roots, like when it came to the album Echoes of Our Time, that was the last album that I did with them. He kind of gave just like the guide vocals, and not to like create like BVs around it and all that, and with the girls who were also vocal tutors actually. So we had a great team. Three of us. We were called the Shakettes.
Yeah.
Funny name, but anyway. Our sound, people used to just come out to just like see what we were going to do, because we were so completely synced on the stage. Like I was a black person, and there was a girl with brown hair and then a girl with blonde hair, you know, so it was like crazy. But yeah, it was cool. We had so much fun.
No way.
And you know, we had so much great conversation, just just traveling together.
People don't see that.
And lives were changed.
Come on.
Even for Shakin' Stevens.
Come on.
Life change. And then he did the Echoes of Our Times album because of the way that he started to think. He didn't necessarily want to go back to the old songs like Green Door and Christmas Everyone, as we used to sing it all the time. But the new album, it kind of embodied lyrics like the wading in the water and Abraham and all this stuff. And then he found that he had an uncle who was a church elder or deacon or something like that. So it was all about that. And I think that it was really impactful, just having that experience and being able to hold your corner as a Christian, touring with people who weren't that way persuaded. But our conversation became like that because it was mainly geared to life, the way that you live your life and your acknowledgement of a higher power that you have to be accountable to.
Come on.
Right?
Wow.
So that was, I find that in any circumstance that you're in, if you know what your purpose is and the fact that God has given you the opportunity to be placed in that situation, you should use it to bring Christ to the hearts of those people in that circumstance. So where people have this perception of because you're Christian, you shouldn't be doing that. I write life songs. I write real truth. I write circumstances that I've been through and how God has brought me through it, so they can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Come on.
You know, it's about being real and honest about your journey and being unapologetic about it. You know, and that is why I write, that is why I sing, and that is why I'm involved in various things. You know, the Temptations and the Four Tops experience. We went on tour with it was Chris Ballon and Donna Gardia and myself who were doing backing vocals for Chris Clark. She was a Northern Soul person for Motown, and she was the one that opened the show for the Temptations and the Four Tops. But I remember getting onto that tour bus and them having my poster.
Wow.
My album.
Wow.
And then that's when I met my longtime producer, Alonzo Mackenzie, who's now deceased.
Oh.
But he became my producer. He's a musical director for Motown.
Okay,
all
cool.
the
Yeah.
greats,
Yeah.
Lionel Richie,
Wow.
all of them people, you know. So I was privileged to have that experience, and you know, I just didn't. I've never been one to let people dissuade me from what I'm convicted of. You know, if I know that God is in it and God has led me that way, there's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
So I just keep my focus. And I would say to anybody who is serious about being a gospel artist or an artist generally, if you haven't got nothing positive to say, or you haven't got something that you can teach someone through your music, then what is it worth?
Yeah, man.
Really,
Yeah,
I don't care how high up the chain you are. Right?
Yeah.
You've got to have a message that's going to affect change.
Yeah, man. Wow.
In someone's life.
Wow.
And that is the purpose in it.
Yeah.
So whenever I work with artists, it's from a holistic standpoint, right? It's about opening their mind to the possibilities of how deep and how impactful their message can be, right? If they just thought about it, if they were mindful of their listener, because it's a responsibility. You've been given the platform to get up there. It's a privilege to get up there and be in front of people, right? In whatever circumstance, it could be in front of a school audience. It could be in front of older children. It could be in front of elderly people. It could be people who are suffering from dementia, people who are abused, people who are, you know, prison, whatever it is. It's wherever God allows you to gives you the opportunity to go to, that you should be able to take a message in front of that audience to inspire and to lift up and build, right? There was a period of time when I was part of the prison outreach network team, and I'll go to Borehamwood prison. It's a women's prison mostly. I've done Wormwood Scrubs, I've done Feltham, all those ones. But Borehamwood was my favourite because it was a women's facility, and it would just be me with the band, and you know, I'd get up there, I'd say, you know, you have to have a narrative, a story in between your songs. But the impact was so powerful that the women used to come to those sessions with a Bible in their hand.
Come on now.
You know, and there was this one girl, she was a self-harmer. And the thing is, most of the women in there committed crimes of passion where they're trying to protect their lives against an abuser, or they're trying to protect their children, and they are getting beaten up themselves, and they end up getting the better hand because, you know, for a woman, a mother is trying to protect their child, they have that lioness instinct. You know, they're going to put themselves, their fear goes out the window, and they're just going to go for, you know, to protect themselves and their child. So you had a lot of people like that in there, and just talking to her, or she was listening, you know, the place was, and it was so emotional, the warden started to get really scared because the emotion that came into the room, you know, people were crying and like, you know, I want to be saved and all this stuff. And there was this one girl, she said, do you mind if I come and sit at the piano and play a song? This is in the middle of the performance, said, yeah, come on. Yeah, so she sat at the piano.
Yeah.
And she started playing this beautiful song. And she said that this was a song that she wrote for her grandmother.
Wow.
And she sang, and she had such a beautiful voice, beautiful girl. And I said to her, okay, and I said it in front of everyone. I said, okay, I'm going to challenge you. I want you to prepare for when you leave this place.
Wow.
Right? I want you to put your pen to paper and write some songs. And remember that when you leave this place, you're going to go and record those songs. You know, we weren't allowed to stay in touch with them.
Okay, of course.
Which is a shame. I would love to know what she's doing now, but it's with everyone that was in that room. You know, I kind of set tasks for them to complete for the next time that I came. And it changed lives. The warden shut it down after about six times of us coming. They said that the emotions were too high when they went back to their room. But there was no trouble. It's just that they didn't know how. It's a risk, isn't it? Just in case.
Risk assessment.
There's like emotions that were brought up or whatever. But the focus from them coming to there was about improving themselves. So even though their emotions, there was a lot of tears. It was cleansing tears. You know, and every time I came back, it would be, you know, that improvement, that much more improvement, and them gelling more together to support one another and having that conversation rather than being in their own corner and like, you know, being scared of what's going to happen to them with someone else in there. So it became like that, and you know, that fresh understanding of, you know, what you've been through. I went through it, but you know, your outcome was different from mine. And it could have been different. Wow. But there's no difference between you and there's no and me. The difference is I know God's grace in my life, right? And that's why I'm sharing with you, because I understand.
Yeah, man, big.
So there's lots of things. I mean, I'm very heavily involved in Transformation Powerhouse with a lady called G. Patchett. A child is crying, do you care? Children who've been sexually abused, and people who've been through domestic violence. Crazy. There's that side. I also did a workshop. It was like a workshop to keep children off the street, really, with Starlight Music Academy. And it was like you'd like give the children, well, they're more youth, give them a project. So everybody got a USB stick. We choose that. Well, they had the opportunity to choose an artist from England that they admired. They would have to learn maybe 5 songs of that artist. They'd get the vocal training, and sometimes it was just a supportive session where they'd come in, somebody would be crying, you know, they'd have the bad week, we'd sit and we'd talk about it, everybody would share, and then I'd say, okay, get up on the stage and now put it into your song. You know, put that emotion, rechannel it into your performance. Let us believe what you're saying. You know, and similarly, it's just like when you're working with industry artists, you know, I'm not somebody that gets starstruck because I've seen the other side of it. I've seen artists with all their flaws, even though they're getting paid big bucks, and just taking them through the training process of vocal. So when I left LCGC, I followed Lawrence asked me to be one of his vocal trainers for Tough the Session Agency. So I was doing a lot of that with Lawrence, and you know, just going through different artists and their different dynamics. It is about, you know, finding out a bit about their life, making sure that they understood how to deliver the song by putting their experience into it. You know, I'd always choose gospel songs because I know that reaches the heart more, and it will open their mind to the reality of and the necessity of God in their life. Right? So it would be more making them more self-aware making them more appreciative to their blessings, even though they might not be church going. You know, so you can apply, depending on how you deliver it, you can apply, you know, what you believe, what inspires you, what drives your life. You know, whenever you're in a circumstance like that, if you're our teacher, or you know, it's something that it's just what makes a human being a human being. And what the church needs to understand is their perception or their belief system around the music industry needs to be revisited, because there's so many people who have got this gifting naturally that God has blessed them with, and they're suppressed because they're not allowed to use it because of the fears of their parents or what they might have come over here with, you know, from their experiences. I don't know, you know, maybe they coming from clubbing and whatever, and there's certain things that remind them of that music genre or whatever. But my thing is, when I did my first album, I purposely I used all different styles of music. There was classical, there was reggae, there was a bit of rap in there, there was like all different things. But it wasn't intentional as to my choice. It was just what the song was saying
and what it needed.
And what the music needed to be in order to bring it to life. Right. So it was different platforms, and I was invited to Oakwood for the alumni weekend after winning the award, and they had the concert.
Wow.
You know, and the way that they really looked after me, and there was the CEO for Madison Avenue Records that was giving me a contract, and I was like, no, I'm British. I want a black British label to sign me. I'm going back to England, and that's what I'm going to do. So he was like, well, I'm going to follow your journey. I'm always going to be here to support you. And I just spoke to William Hampton.
Wow.
3 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, Charmain, anything you want, don't forget, you just ring me. I'm there. I'm going to support you, whatever you're doing. I'm so proud of you. Still feel inspired by our conversations. And this is all these years later, you know.
Wow.
And he's happy to just be supportive in anything that I do. And I came back from doing Adventure Island, Huntsville, Patmos Chapel, which is the Church of Brian McKnight, and you know, just doing the alumni weekend at Oakwood. You know what? I have to say this because my hair used to be longer than this, and it was layered, right? So I'm standing there waiting to start my song, and who walks in the room? Little Richard. And his hair is so perfectly layered, and I should just put that out there because his hair looked better than mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had him in the audience. There's like the Virtue Lot, and you know, all them people that were schooled at Oakwood. They came back for the alumni, so I felt so blessed and privileged to be.
You to throw it down in front of them.
Yeah, and William took me to the Sound Cell in America, the studio, and sometimes I think Alicia Keys records there and takes 6 and all that. But it was just nice for him to just like say to them, okay, this is Charmain, I'm introducing you to Charmain, and she's going to be doing some recording here. I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, man.
But it was really nice just to have that support and just, you know, that belief, or them believing in your ministry, you know, and appreciating your voice. Because this is the first time that I'm going out there to do something like this. Because as soon as I'd done it, got the award, I was like off. We're doing this mini tour in the States, and that's it. Yeah, man. But then when I came back, I felt so empowered.
Good.
Because they were like, you know, we know that you can sing. You came here and you did it.
You can sing, man.
In real life, you know, and we respect that, you know. So I've still got their support, and Coming back, I went straight into Jetstar to Mr. P.
Mm.
And they loved their album, every single track. And they just, like, I was like, I don't want to be signed to you. Like, I don't want to give you the accolade for my album. I'll do manufacturing, distribution, keep it independent.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always been. So I've got the freedom to create.
Great. Well,
Yeah, so what my thing is, for any artist out there, especially the independents, this is your time.
100%.
Right, you can be as creative and original as you want to be.
Come on.
You know, but stay true to yourself. Don't let anybody tell you how you should sound. You know, that's your voice. Get to love your own voice. You know, it doesn't have to be a loud voice. It all depends on your biological makeup. And once you understand that, don't try and be like anybody else. Be yourself.
Come on.
You know, your sound is authentically your sound. It's how you were made to sound.
Come on.
You know, but you can perfect it.
That's crazy.
By education and knowing how to take care of your voice.
Right.
You know, eat for vocal health.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely sweet. But listen, guys, you know what? I thought this could be about a quick 20-minute phone conversation here, guys. We have broken every rule book in my thing, because I am just totally infused by your like I'm like going, really? Did she really? I'm next to a superstar, yeah, and she just walk up here like say she's a normal human being, you know what I'm saying? People, she's coming in the studio like she's sang it at Sunday for the Sunday school choir, and that's it, and that's her life, and she carried on working for the rest of life. Absolutely, you know, amazing. Listen, guys, I have to do part 50 because there's so many things we can expand on this, and I think you need to be part of certain conversations going forward that we want to have in a station, that we want to be having with even projects that I work with in terms of GMIA, and in context of not only historically looking at things is how do we interpret gospel today? How do we look at that, you know, females within the gospel industry here, the suppression of them, or maybe the case of the success of them, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we assume a lot of things because we just see a couple male faces and we just assume because of the pastors, but we don't assume it. So we're going to break that down in the future, because I know I've gone a bit over my time. I'm going to be told off by the station manager, you've been spending too much time chatting. But no, everything has been amazing what you spoke about today about with myself, and it's beautiful hearing the journey of somebody from 4 years old to have that creative journey and to actually hold it down for Christ. It is possible, people, to hold it down for Christ and be integral back scene there, but it's it's just beautiful hearing it. So there's gonna be, if you do have any comments, guys, do put it in there, because we can have another conversation here, you know me, about this, and do rise up, because these are plumb lines, these are standards that we want to be starting from. We don't want to be going backwards and starting again. We want to be standing upon the great work that you have done, breaking us into the scene of wider music. You know what I mean? The sacrifices that you made, why are we having to do it again? It should not happen again. You know what I mean? So these are challenges out there for UK gospel right now. Stop getting gassed the way you are right now. It's not really not to be gassed upon. It's really added to the show is we need to appreciate what's happened before us, so we can now look at how we can infiltrate our sound, our culture, who we are. You know what I'm saying? In tune. But yeah, out there in the proper man anyway. So yeah. But listen, guys, I gotta end off here. But I'm with the lovely Charmain Elliott. I got it right in it. Okay. Yeah. I said Charmain, but there's another. You know, say so. Often I get that wrong anyway. So that part there still, yeah. Oh, they have a Caribbean name there. So, but anyway, I don't get them wrong. But anyway, Charmain, absolutely fantastic, absolutely honoured. You know what I'm saying?
Can I do a quick shout out?
Okay, go shout out, man.
Okay. So I didn't speak much about my children, which I should have done.
Okay, go. Go. Big up to Pete and them.
Yeah, but I've got two producer sons. Anton, known as Twani, and Sinclair the Mage, right, of Team Mage Productions. They're both recording artists, they're both producers, they beats, whatever, and two daughters, Saria Grace and Cheyenne X, who are singer-songwriters as well. But they made me raise my game, because I thought, okay, you know, I'm not a person that's very patient. When I've got an idea in my head, I need to put it down. Yeah. But they'd listen to it and I say, no, Mum, you need to do this and you need to do that.
Okay, good.
You know, I can hear that in the background now. Thank you, my kids. You're
Yeah,
a
man.
perfectionist.
Yeah, man.
And then big shout out to Dave P. He has been with me throughout my whole journey. He is the only the only radio DJ that is in that Bible of gospel music that William Hampton gave to me all those years ago.
Wow.
Right? Big shout out to him because he has been a real champion. He keeps our music playing live, playing on the radio.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah, man.
you know.
100% to Dave P. They brought me, he's from Kittian descent. You think I don't know my brother? You know what I'm saying? You know, pull out them things there still, yeah, brethren, yeah? You know what I'm saying? Sorry, you want me to talk London for you, bro, so you can understand me. No, big shout out to my boy David P. No, he's been on it from the minute anyway still, yeah? So no, definitely, sis, amazing conversation.
Me.
No, that's no problem. But anyway, still, yeah. By the way, I'm the next generation Kittian, but I'm just mixed with Jamaican still, you know it goes, you know? But anyway, listen, this is what you're hearing the Extra, celebrating gospel music, Black Origin. This is how we do it, and we're with the lovely Charmain Elliott, the boss lady of gospel music, going in there, we're representing the SDA crew. This is the massive out there, so yeah, and also Jamaican as well. This is how we do it, man. Yeah. God bless you all, man. Blessings, people, man. Thanks again, sister.
All right.
Hey, this is your bishop. This is your bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing, and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta, and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of Black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.